even read your word. That's when I remember what you said to me, that you'd be with me at all times. I'm a survivor. I'm more than a conqueror. I'm a survivor. I'm more than a conqueror.
Welcome to In My World. Today I have a very special guest on the show, Canute Neil Ellis. Well, did I say that right? I said that wrong. Canute Neil Ellis, right? That's right? Yeah, Canute Neil Ellis. I want you to help me welcome my extra special guest now. What you may not know is that Canute is a technical director, producer, and engineer extraordinaire. He just entered an amazing street gospel project, and it was entered in 10 different categories for Grammy consideration. So it went through, right? Went through first, the very first level, which is just entering it. Then it was considered for a Grammy in 10 different categories. That is absolutely phenomenal. So please help me to welcome this great guy, Canute Neil Ellis.
Hello. What a takeover.
Look, I can't do that. I can't do that. You know, sometimes I do have a little tendency.
You are the master. You are the master. You are.
Not at all. Not at all. But I want to tell you what's so funny about this whole thing and this whole setup is 20 years ago, Canute and I started working together 20 years ago. We had absolutely no idea that everything would pan out how it pan out. But I had my production company way back then. I had just come out of being a medical technologist, and the company was a production company. So we did, you know, audio was AV production, so audio and visual production. And someone recommended this young whippersnapper. And so he had hair at the time. There was no beard and there was no grey hair.
Young and green tomato.
Yeah, none like that. And yeah, man, Neil, we used to do some really great work.
You were the producer of my first TV show, Word on the Street.
Yeah, man. Oh my goodness. I remember how nervous you were. You were like so nervous.
I couldn't get my intros, my takes. I still can't get my intros right.
Well, that's cool. We'll work through that. Yeah. we'll work through that. But you know, one of the great things I think about producing and just working with individuals is just watching the growth. And I have seen you grow over the years. It's amazing to have you here on In My World. No, only kidding. But it's great to see what you've done with the music, what you've done with your passion with music and editing and producing, because you produce music, you have exposed artists. Back in the day with Word on the Street, you were bringing out artists that no one had heard of and no one had been exposed to, literally exposing Jamaica and the rest of the world to what at the time was a burgeoning genre, right? It was brand new, very few people knew who they were, but they were being impacted. And you're doing the same thing now with your music, you're doing the same thing now with this show. I really want to big you up. You know, truly, because a lot of times, and I know this because I'm challenging this as a creative, you start things, but being able to finish them is difficult. You're into, is this season 2 or season 3?
This is season 2.
Wow.
And this is gonna be some episode like later, like 10 or 11 or something like that.
So cool, right? So almost 2 seasons completed. I'm sure you're gonna go into season 3. I really encourage you to keep going. Keep going, because, and I want to encourage all of your viewers too. It can be difficult. Starting out can be difficult. And I know many of the people who watch this show, you're creative, right? So you may be an engineer, you may be a producer, you may be a musician, and you've had this thing in your heart, you've had a music project in your heart, or you've had a production in your heart and you've wanted to do it, and you're just not sure what to do or if it's going to be received, or you know, you're just really scared. And I encourage you to keep going. And I encourage you to start and keep going. And even if it's just a script or the first words of the song, just keep going, because the world needs you.
Listen, you practice what you preach. Samantha practiced what you preach, and we didn't give her justice. my co-host.
I know.
Is
No, I'm done.
Samantha Gooden.
I'm done taking over. I take over the
She
show.
is the maestro. She is
Cool.
she's an amazing person. She practices what she preach. Samantha would be the one I would springboard things off of. And if you
love ideation.
if your idea gets her to smile, people, trust me, you've won. Right, smile, because then she goes with it. She goes with it now. Like you've taught, why wait? Do it now. Like people would link me up and say, hey, well, should I get to him? Like, yeah, let's do it now. I've got that from you. She's also been the one where I sent my shows to. I remember my season 2 show. I tried so hard to reshoot it. I put the camera down. It was in my apartment.
Was that season 2?
It's season 2 recap, my first episode.
Okay.
And I sent it to Samantha. I was like, tell me what you think, because I didn't know. I set the camera up. It was me goosing up, getting ready, and the whole of my head cut off, right? And Samantha was like, put it out. I was like, no, I have to shoot it over. But I got it so well. The first go was just my practice, and I didn't know if I could do it again. She's like, the beauty is in the imperfection.
Yeah,
I want to talk about that.
But okay, but you know why? Listen to you. Why I would say that to you, and why I would say that to you, because done is better than perfect.
Whoa! Want to hear that?
So most times,
done is better than perfect.
Done is better than perfect. So better you do it and put some out there than do not, because 0% is 0%.
Wow.
But if you have 10%, 20%, 30%, it's so much better than 0. And appreciating where you are in the process and putting it out there means that you have something that you can say, oh, I know what to improve. I know what to move forward on. Wow. Because perfection is an illusion. There is no perfection, right?
Listen, I just the other day, recently, I got it like a ton of bricks in my head. I thought perfection equal excellence. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. And I spent more than half my life as in tech and production thinking that it had to be perfect, and that's where excellence would have been seen. Oh, I was wrong.
So I'm a recovering perfectionist, right? And one of my friends who's an amazing psychologist and counselor will say, she was like, Samantha, we're always in recovery, right? Perfectionists are always in recovery, right? And so it's very easy for you to get stopped, or you start thinking, why, what are the people going to say, or what are they going to think of me, or what if it's not quite right, and all of those things stop you from doing what you need to do to just getting out there. Nike says just do it, and that sounds really easy. It sounds very cool, but it can be quite difficult. So I have a thing which is called a get it done strategy, right? Just do it. Yeah. The first part of it is around inertia. Now, inertia is it's kind of like a thing in physics, and it is that force that you'll find kind of holding you back before you get into motion, right? So if you've ever noticed you have a brand new idea, like a song comes to you, or you're thinking about a new collaboration, and just before you actually do it, before you take up the phone and you call somebody, you're going to find yourself with all of these thoughts. Oh, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense, they're not going to like it, this song of foolishness, da-da-da. That's the inertia, right? That's what's stopping you. Or I remember way back in the day, so I used to perform at the Grog Shop. I think the Grog Shop is the coffee shop back in Jamaica, and at Devon House.
Yeah, the
Love
original
that place.
Starbucks.
The original Starbucks. And
I shouldn't have said that, but the original coffee spot.
Yeah, and I was young, fresh and green from the country at the time, working out with Fitzroy Bennett. I love you, Fitzroy. If you're watching this, love you. Always have a whole lot of love for you. Whole lot of love, enough respect. And what happened is we'd go there and we'd perform once a week. This is a really simple thing, and I want you to understand this. So anyways, we're going through, we have people coming to our little show, and so I put some flyers together, Grog Shop, every Thursday meet us, and I printed these things on printed paper and said, I'm going to start giving out these little posters so people could come and they could see us. And I got so nervous at the thought of putting the posters out and sharing them, I never shared them. Wow. They all stayed in the envelope because I was afraid. My desire to be perfect stopped me, because I started saying, if I start sharing my show with people, then they may actually watch it. And then they may actually like it. or worse, they may actually not like it. And so the fear of the rejection and the fear of potential success stopped me from sharing that and holding myself back. And that's something that I've had to identify in various places of my life where I've been holding myself back, right? And it's, gosh, I could go into this so much because it's something I'm very passionate about. But anyways, the first part of the Get It Done strategy is identifying inertia, identifying where you may feel stuck. It's okay to be stuck. It's okay to feel stuck. What we want to do is move you out of there, right? After we get through the inertia, then we ultimately want to get you to the point of implementation. We want to get you into action. So before we can get you into action, what we're going to find is we need you to be focused. You need to focus on the thing you truly want to do. What impact do you want to make this year? Right? It's the beginning of a new year. This is when we're shooting it. But we're always in the midst of new beginnings, right? Because we have the ability to reimagine ourselves at any time, right? And this is the evolution of you, your personal brand, and who you are. So what impact do you want to make? Who do you want to be? What do you want to be focused on? And once you've identified one thing, here what happens, it doesn't have to be perfect. Once you've identified one thing that you want to be focused on, that you want to do, then we want to put some steps in place to implement that. So say, for example, you say, you know, this is the year for sure I want to put out my album, or I want to put out a song. Now, we want to talk about inertia. My project, I mean, thanks to you, thanks to Othniel Lewis, thanks to, you know, several other amazing musicians, my project, Stronger, was entered into the Grammy category of Best Christian Contemporary music in CCM, and it was actually considered for a Grammy. Woo! Yeah. But that project, I've been working. It was a labor of love for a really long time, and I know that you, in the midst of the process, you can get really scared. But if you think about the big project, then you probably won't do any work. But if you can break that down into steps, which is the implementation part of the Get It Done strategy, you're good. So what is one thing that you can do today that's going to take you closer to this vision, this one thing that you want to do?
Samantha, it's easy said than done, and I want to talk about why you can talk that way, because you've lived it. You are a coach for many years, and you've had businesses that, you know, thrive and then not thrive and then thrive again and so on. But it's so hard to have an idea and then so excited about this idea, and then just before you launch, you start second guess yourself. You start wondering what people going to think and what people going to say, and then it's almost like you start seeing those negative things just for that first time, and you don't consider, let me push through, let me pass all of this feeling, let me be consistent and create a momentum.
Okay. So I mean, like you just touched on several of my, I call them my keywords, right?
Pressure points.
No, man, I tell you. So last year, one of my best friends and I, we had our focus as consistent intentional action, the CIA. That was our drive. Because we realize consistency is key. It doesn't matter if, even if you're just making a small step in the direction of your goal, it's better than making no step. But it is when you have, in fact, we just put this equation together, CIA, so consistent intentional action, plus massive imperfect action is what gets you into momentum, right? Wow. So our equation is CIA plus MIA equals momentum, right? Why do you need momentum? Because you want to be moving and you want to continue moving. And I could get into the physics of this some more, but I'm not going to. The point is that if you start, you want to continue. What my trainers would say when we're running or whether we're swimming is, don't stop. Better you go slower than you stop, right? So just keep going. Even so, sometimes all I'm doing is doggy paddling. Right? I'm not going with the whole, you know, freestyle and thing in the swimming. Why? Because you want to stay in momentum. In ideation, as creatives, we want to stay in momentum. So you're right. It isn't easy. And most of the times you really do just want to stop. You do, because you're afraid, and a lot of times you don't know what's next. But that's what we call the just-in-time knowledge, the
Whoa.
just-in-time learning. You don't have to know it all.
Yeah.
You know, and just-in-time is a lean management theory that says there are car manufacturers who use just-in-time as a way to ensure that they don't have a ton load of stock on hand, but they have it just so that when you order the car, they have the car part, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where that comes from. Well, like I said, I'm not going to get into all the details of this, but there's a thing called just-in-time learning, where you may say, let's go the route of the song. You want to put a song out, but you have no idea how to get song artwork created or how to get your music copywritten. Don't worry about that right now. What's the thing that you can do now to move the song forward? And when you get there, when you absolutely need to have the copywriter or the producer or the technical director or whatever it is, then that will be provided for you because you will have just-in-time learning, just-in-time provision. For those of you who have a biblical background and you know this line, give us this day our daily bread. So you're not ask for bread for next year. Right now it's just the
Manna.
daily. Yeah, man. Give me the provision today. Give me the idea today. Take the action today, and that action that you take today is the action that's going to help you get to tomorrow. And when you get to tomorrow, you'll know what's ready for tomorrow.
Vulnerability. Why is it so easy for you to be vulnerable, especially online?
Oh, well, I mean, you know what? I wouldn't say it's easy.
Jamaican people that say you have people in your business that tell people your business. What does that do to your psyche when you say, I'm just gonna say I'm nervous? Like, I'm just gonna say this is hard. I'm gonna say I've done this and I've failed.
Wow, that's a really good question.
Jackpot! What? Don't edit this out. Please. What?
Let me tell you. We're human. We're human, and I just think there are too many carbon copies out there. A lot of people who make it seem as if they're perfect, or their situation is perfect, or things are easy, and the truth is that they're really not. My goal in life is, I truly am on a mission to inspire and educate change agents to live lives of abundance and authenticity, right? I didn't always know my mission. I hadn't always defined it. And it took me quite a while to get to the point where I wasn't only just defining it, but I was taking that and putting it into action. And how do you do that? Like, how do you put that into action? That's what I keep asking myself. The big question I ask myself now is, what does it look like to live in my zone of genius? Right? Because I believe everybody has a zone of genius. What does that look like?
Yeah.
So I want, when I'm coaching someone, when I'm working with a client, I don't want to be telling them about something that's theoretical. I want to be sharing with them something that's real, because I want to hold their hand and take them through from, step one all the way through to the end, and ultimately to implementation. So why do I do it? Because I want to be real. I've lived a lot of my life not real. I'm 42 years old.
You're being vulnerable and telling your age.
And that way it's not vulnerable, right? No, but 42, the math's not hard to do, right? And there are way too many of us who get into our late 30s and 40s and have no clue who we are, no clue who we want to be, and are so stuck on societal norms and what society says you should do or who you should be. And I'm just saying, I don't want to be that person. I made a conscious decision about that, and so in doing that, there are particular actions that go along with it.
Yeah.
That's it. So I just want to be aligned. I know perfection is an illusion, so I'm not trying to be perfect, but I want to be me.
Singing.
Wait, hold on. Oh, that's sure you go though.
Yeah, no, because we can't ask you the question.
So you just
one
do
word.
words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we didn't talk about who you are, and I don't know if I can even sum you up in 30 seconds.
Try.
Okay. Hi, my name is. Let me get rid of that phlegm. Here we go. Hi, my name is Canute. I am the host of In My World, and my guest today, my co-host, is Samantha Gooden. She is an entrepreneur. She's a fearless girl boss. She is a marketing launch secret. She's a ClickFunnels queen. Me, I gotta say that. And she is a singer. She's a worshiper. She is. What else are you?
Wait, hold on. So I thought this was the intro. You see, this was the part on his show, Word on the Street, that we really had to work on a whole lot. You know?
No, because we jumped right into it, Samantha. And for me, you are one of the singers that I revere as, you know, when you really want to get to either in your worship experience or jazz or just some nice reggae tune, like you are the singer.
Wow.
And I'm honored to be one of the first producers to draw for you.
Listen, but
put
you
your
first.
plan.
No, but first. Oh my God, my story's
Somebody
for
say
days.
I'm me, boss. I don't that.
May I tell you?
Tell me what's your
but,
video.
hold on, I don't know about this whole boss thing, you know. It's kind of like, you know, it's a
Don't
Jamaican
be like
thing.
some of them are saying I'm me.
But what? All right, sorry. What I will say is the very first song that I ever composed, very first one, my very first worship song. I came to you in your studio. That time you just kind of built up your own studio, and you recorded it. I don't really think I had music, to be honest with you. I typed out all of my lyrics, because I could be that way, and I handed it to the.
That was so annoying as an audio engineer. And this woman give me type out lyrics like I'm like, no, because we engineers on the island, we learn songs just like that and we track. She wanted me to track physically.
Gave my lyrics. I went and I sang, and that was, I mean, so precious to me. Wow, I don't even remember. Okay. Oh my goodness, I can hear the song in my head now. This song, I actually don't think I released it. But the song was called Not by Power, Not by Might, but by My Spirit. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, music for me and singing for me is the core of my inspiration. You know, but I realized that inspiration and creativity is more than music.
Wow. So, we were in the studio. I contacted Samantha about this project, Scroll V1.
Wow.
Yes, she's on there. So she's foundation, right? Way back. This is like 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And Samantha, I think you were just on the cuffs of Fear Factor.
Yeah.
And
Wow,
I
gosh,
wanted this
you.
inspirational thing to
Well,
be
you
on
have
this
to tell
hardcore.
the Fear Factor as well.
No, you want to tell him that.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
you know, and so Samantha came on this hardcore track at the time. And it's still tough staying with still, but Samantha came on and did this song called Prayer.
Right, so here's the thing. At the time, I was just exploring my spoken voice.
Yes.
So I have been a radio announcer and radio producer, as well as a TV producer for TV shows and advertising. I've worked in marketing for over 15 years, advertising, PR, communications for over 15 years. I have run very large brands, which many of your viewers probably know, and run them in over 15 markets. And done work in rebranding and marketing. That's a big part of what I've done in my life. But at the time when you came with the Scroll V1 project, I was just exploring my speaking voice. And so I didn't necessarily want to be doing a whole heap of singing. Like, I did some singing, but what's most precious to me about that song is the speaking, you know, and is the way that words come.
The inspiration that you give.
And I wrote that in the studio, right? I'm just there writing it down while we were going. So it was really great.
Work ethics. I'm just going to, one word, this is a show.
Well, first off, I want to give enough honor and respect to Vico Samuel Gooden. That's my father. When I think about work ethics, I always think about him. I remember as a child waking up and hearing him. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. He was already dressed or close to being dressed to get out to go to work. And that is, so I was born in England. And that is from, we were in England all the way to when we moved to Jamaica, and he had to get out in the community and get work done. So I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I look to my father when it comes to the baseline of work ethics. I've evolved somewhat from what he shared with me, but I'm so grateful that I have that foundation, because I don't think it's about hard work, it's about smart work. And it took me a while to understand what is smart work. It means scheduling.
Yeah.
It means having the right systems in place. because I believe that we should all be CEOs of our life, and a CEO is really someone who manages systems and multiple systems. And where you see yourself getting caught up, like you're having the challenges with momentum or the challenges fulfilling things, it really is a system error. It's a systematic thing. You know, I'm really passionate about those things. I could go into the depths of it, but ultimately, it's about doing your best in the situation that you're in. And if you can define excellence as that, me showing up and giving my best. I say show up and shine, right? Show up and shine and give your absolute best. That is therefore excellence.
Wow. Marketing.
Wow. Okay, so this one now we can take over the whole show for.
No, I'm not taking over. You already take the
like,
intro.
right.
You take the belly of the show.
No, because
you are a marketer. And you said everybody is a marketer.
Everybody's a
The day
marketer.
Samantha told me this, I was like, she'd never wake up right or something. She's like, you are a marketer. Everybody's a marketer. And you're going to tell us who is the ultimate marketer, right?
yes, cool. I will. Yeah, that's my thing. So I love marketing. Absolutely love marketing. Wake me up in the middle of the night. Ask me to do ideation. Ask me to work with you through a process. I can definitely do that. And I believe that marketing, as with many other things, has a process, but a process that is founded on a powerful strategy and also is set with plans. So it's strategy, process, and plans, those three things. And the definition of marketing that I use is that marketing is the shifting of perception with the intention of a sale. That just means you want somebody's behavior to shift so that you get them to give you money in exchange for what you're offering them, right? That behavioral shift is influence. Influence. And you know what another definition of influence is? It's leadership. Leadership equals influence. Leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. That's what John Maxwell says. I just so happen to also be a John Maxwell trained coach. So when I put all that together, I realized everybody is a marketer, because at all times we are influencing someone to do something. If you have ever asked a taxi driver to take you from point A to point B, that's a level of influence and therefore also a level of communication and marketing, because you shifted perception with the intention of the sale. In this case, your sale was, or your deal or your offer was, take me from point A to point B. But if you're an entrepreneur, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, so I've done this in multiple ways, I've failed in multiple ways, and I've done some things that I've done relatively well. As entrepreneurs, it's also important for us to know that's what marketing is too. The shifting of perception with the intention of a sale. Now, if you have a strategy around your marketing, right, then you put the process in place, the plans become easy. So I've created something that's called the marketing launch formula. I'll definitely share a link with you, so that all of your people can just see what the marketing launch formula is. Essentially, I have broken down marketing into 5 very simple steps that anybody can use to market, literally, to take your project to market, to go to market and do phenomenal things. But you asked me, like, who's the ultimate marketer? And my take is that really God is the ultimate marketer. Here's how this thing goes, right? Yeah, so God is the ultimate marketer, right? Shifting our perception with the intention of a sale. For those of you with a biblical worldview, you'd understand that the ultimate goal, right, was salvation. What's that? That's a product. So the product is salvation. I want to make sure that everyone is cool and chill and then get through life, and they don't just get through life in a little way, they get through life in a really good way, right? So that's the product. Who's the customer? Customer is all mankind. What's the offer? If you come and chill with me, you're going to live forever. Plus you're going to have a really cool life. What's the experience? The experience is that you are able to have abundant life. So you're able to have a kind of life that other people don't have. What's the tribe? You get to be a part of the believers, right? Those are the 5 steps, right, of the marketing launch formula. And God as the ultimate marketer, I consider God, G-O-D, the grand operational designer, right? Grand operational designer of all things. That, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you want to know the best marketer, the ultimate marketer, that's who's out there. And we too can market in the same way. Go to market. If you're a mom and you are seeking to convince your children to do something that they haven't done before, you find difficult, that's marketing. If you are looking to make a transition out of your job, that is marketing.
Parents saying, "I'm not bargaining with no pit me."
Yeah, but that's ultimately what you're doing. If you are within your, for you, you're a technical director, a producer, an engineer, and you're thinking, how do I get my next project out there? You want to do that with marketing because you want the shift of perception with the intention of a sale. I can get into it when it comes to music and marketing. It's a whole nother
so
story.
It's important for you not to just do a song and post it up and post it every day, but have a marketing plan to put your song out.
So remember I said that there's strategy, that there's process, and then there are plans. So most people get stuck at the plans part of things. Oh yeah, may I post something to Facebook? Yeah, I'm gonna put something out to my Instagram thing. That's the end of it. And there are multiple pieces that go with the plans, right? Multiple pieces. So you have to have scheduling in place. You want to choose your channel. You want to have your message. You want to have that. That's part of the planning, right? But the process that you use, which is what I just took you through, the 5-step process. You want to have a process, what I call the marketing launch formula. That process is going to take you through. But if you have the process and you haven't set on a strategy, then you're also willy-nilly. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Is your music geared towards women, for female empowerment? Is yours a song that's going to turn dancehall on its head? Right? Know what your strategy is, and that will inform everything else.
Wow. Samantha. Alright, on the subject of being vulnerable and hearing the truth, I trust you, so we're going to do it on live TV. In my world, what you think?
Well, look here, first off, your show's awesome. Your show's awesome.
I said I'd carry on and come back for another. Are you for real?
Look here, I'm not saying it become one, come back for another. No. No.
Wow.
I appreciate innovation. I think what you're doing with your show is innovative. What is innovation? Innovation is looking at the same thing in a different way. So many of our production associates, friends, they have never been exposed before. Their work hasn't been exposed, and just sharing their mindset with them hasn't been exposed. Sharing their mindset with the rest of the world hasn't been exposed. It's really interesting to have conversations with people just from a very different perspective. Your show is doing that. I also, because I know what you were like on your very first show, I see your growth. I see the way that you're doing this banter. Like, you've taken control of an area that's your own, which is your niche. Absolutely fantastic. My take would be, make sure that you don't have anyone who comes on your show and takes it over with an intro that you didn't give.
I give it. I trust Samantha with many things. She's a dear friend for, like you said, for many, many years. It was a joy to even just share ideas from the very first time that I've had it from 20 years ago, and you sanction it. And we're 3 albums later, and we, like you said, we got considered in 10 categories. I consider that as a woohoo moment, because
you have to keep going.
Yeah, it's off the momentum. And if I had $1 for people to say, hey, keep going, then then that would be a great thing. But I don't do it for that. I do it for the purpose that I think I'm called for.
So we are coming with a right, Sam?
Some more singing coming from you this year.
Yeah, man.
Me glad. I'm happy with what you're doing in the space. You are an amazing coach. You are an amazing marketer. You are an amazing person. I think most people were shocked this year in August when you released your album.
2019.
2019. Oh yeah, so it was 2019.
Yeah. Yeah,
so a few months ago, and everybody got excited, and so you gave them a couple songs, and you have a couple songs sit on pan, as them say, and then you have a couple songs you want to be doing. So I'm excited about that coming on.
Like I said, it's the new stuff. I've recorded a lot of music. I could tell you, I have an album right now that's done recorded, just hasn't been It hasn't been mixed or anything. You haven't even heard it. No one has heard it really. I have that, and I'm not even sure that that's what's going to come out because I'm in that process of reimagining. Reimagining myself, reimagining my sound, and making sure that my message is truly aligned.
Wow. Thank you for taking your time to talk with us.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
on the show and being my host.
No. You know, I mean, this is a fun thing. We don't really take over your thing still, you know.
It's hard to catch up with you here, always over the place, and it just so happened that the stars align, and you know. Thank you so much. Thank you for being an awesome person and for sharing so much nuggets. Like me, I could go back and watch this and repeat. I don't even know what to say. You should close the show.
Well, listen, it has been my honor to be with you here on In My World today with my guest, my special guest, Canute Neil Ellis. You know how we do it here on In My World. It's about sharing perspective. And the perspective is from where the special guest is. But you know what? You have a special perspective too. Don't be afraid to share it. Go out. Talk to somebody. Let them know your thoughts, because one of your most valuable assets is your opinion. It is yours. Open your mouth. Use your voice. Share your gift. I'm Samantha Gooden, and it's been my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Canute. See you next time.